Okay. You see these? You see these? These are good movies. Good movies that came out last year. But we're not talking about them today. We're talking about bad movies that came out last year. Let's just get it over with. I think I just knocked on the disc out doing this. Yes, Brendan back here today with another video on the channel, and today we are talking about the top 10 worst movies of 2022. Yes, indeed we are. So, yeah, of course, let's make this quick and short here, this intro. If you saw my last video, we talked about the top 10 best movies of 2022. That video's up on the channel now. I'll leave the link down in the description below. We talked about some of the best ones there, and some of the ones I just showed there were part of that list. So, yeah, and like I said, we're doing a top 10 worst movies list also, so that's what we're here for. Should be very exciting talking about just these movies, so yeah. Anyway, so of course, as I said in the last video, this is all my opinion, so you might not agree that these are the worst movies of the year, and personally for me, they are the worst, maybe not for you, but they are for me. And also, if I go into spoilers for any of these movies, I'll put a spoiler tag at the start of each section, each count. If I also go into spoilers for any of these movies, I'll put a tag at the start of every movie, letting you know which part of the video you can skip to avoid the spoilers. And also, of course, like I said in the last video as well, I have reviewed all these movies on my Letterboxd account, so if you want some more in-depth reviews for some of these, you can go find them down in Letterboxd, link in the description below. But yeah, before you do that, let's go for this top 10 video right now to see what I think are the worst movies of the year. So, let's get into it with number 10. Number 10 is Babylon. This movie is a perfect example of the reverse of the don't judge a book by its cover, because I judged the book already by being good, and then I saw it. Because I was excited for this film because, there's a great cast in it that has Brad Pitt and Margot Robbie and Tobey Maguire, some good people in it. It's like a classic kind of like 1930s kind of Hollywood film set during that time, so it's like, that's interesting. And in the trailer looked pretty fun, but then I saw the movie and yeah, it wasn't that great. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I hated this film. There are definitely some stuff in this film that I enjoyed a lot. Like, there's a lot of really funny moments in the movie that I was very much laughing my ass off at. And there's some great performances by all the actors involved, some great scenes and set pieces. But, there's so much else in the film that kind of weighs it down that doesn't exactly help me, love the film. Like, one of my major problems with the movie overall is that it doesn't take itself, seriously. It has a hard time trying to do that. I find this particularly a problem with how they deal with death in the movie. Death is kind of just like a thing that just happens, and they barely address it. Like, sometimes we see someone just accidentally dies while working on a film due to the hotness of this room with working on sound back in the early days. But and they treat it like nothing. Especially it becomes more apparent when there's this one character, that Brad Pitt's character, Jack, who has this friend who keeps trying to kill himself twice in the movie because there's these women he keeps meeting who don't want to marry him and be his girlfriend and don't love him, even though he only met them a week ago or 5 minutes ago or something like that. And it's played off as a funny thing every time it happens, but I'm like, okay, it's kind of weird. But then he actually does kill himself at someone in the movie, and they treat it very dramatically, and Brad Pitt's character, Jack, is just like, oh man, he was like my best friend, he kind of encouraged me to be in the industry and all this. And I'm like, this is a relationship that was with you two? I did not get that at all, of how it was being treated. It just didn't work. It was like, what? I'm having a hard time trying to take this seriously and his, emotional reaction to his death when the movie itself barely took it seriously at all either, which is just not helping its case. The movie's also long. It's way too long. It's about 3 hours long, and for the first, hour, I was into it, but by, the second hour, I was like, it's just kind of just dragging its feet for me by that point, and not very interesting. And part of the problem, again, also is that this film has, 3 main characters in it that are all kind of they're juggling them for screen time and their storylines, and I don't think it worked having these 3 characters, all to get in this movie telling their storylines separately. Of course, we have Jack's storyline, him being he's this actor from back in, the silent film days of Hollywood, but now he's trying to transition to, the talkie films, which is, an interesting plot line in itself, an interesting, thing for a character. But again, as I said, the film, how it treats, a lot of the serious stuff and a lot of the jokey stuff, it just doesn't quite all help Jack's character. Same with another character, Manny. Manny, I never quite felt or understood why he's doing some of the things he's doing. I mean, I sort of get it, but at the same time, I don't fully understand why he wants to do, his goals of being, a director and producer. It didn't fully click with me. The only character, I guess, didn't suffer from this problem of being, the movie working against them was Nellie. Nellie's storyline was pretty interesting, of her being, this, wanted to be part of the industry, and she did, and, trying to find her way, and then some problems start happening, and also this kind of love relationship she has with Manny that kind of builds, She's the only one I kind of felt that didn't really suffer from the movie, like being like very long and then trying to juggle 3 characters. But yeah, again, I feel like it didn't help Jack and Manny all that much. And yeah, like a perfect example to compare this film to would be Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which ironically also has Brad Pitt and Margot Robbie in a film about, you know, the kind of the golden age of Hollywood. That film also juggles 3 characters with Rick Dalton, Cliff, and Sharon Tate, you know, but that film did it so much better. It felt more like, you know, organic and cohesive how it was operating that movie, and just felt like it was better handled in the storyline, like a lot more than this movie, honestly. And the ending of the movie is also kind of weird here. It's just kind of really strange and odd. Like when they have Tobey Maguire show up, his sequence is just weird. And there's a whole montage at the end that just is also kind of weird. And like, what is the point of this? Like, I don't know. It's very strange. Like, I want to like this movie, but there's just some stuff in it that's really not, that's working against it for me, that I can't fully enjoy it or say it's like a great movie. It's very just like average. It's like there's some half good stuff, half bad stuff, and yeah, I mean, like again, if you want to check it out, there are some good stuff in it, but it's just not, I don't think it's that great. So yeah, Babylon I gave a 5 out of 10 to. Number 9 is Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Again, another one that on the surface looked good and looked promising, but it wasn't that good at the end of the day. Again, it's not an awful movie, but it's not the greatest. Like, I mean, I saw a lot of people did enjoy this film, but like, for me, it just didn't quite work. Like, I mean, I think the idea of like kind of being like this like character exploration of like Nicolas Cage, but also being like a comedy also, is a fun idea. And like, there's some good stuff in here for that, but it's just, it doesn't quite work. What does work is the friendship and relationship between Nicolas Cage and Pedro Pascal, the GOAT. And like, they're great in the film. I love seeing their chemistry together. They're a lot of fun, and like, they work. A lot of their movie does not quite work. Like, to me, the film kind of goes down in quality as it goes on. The first act is solid. I like seeing kind of, like, we're seeing Nicolas Cage kind of like down on his luck a bit, and, like trying hard to get some like good movie roles again, and like just no one taking him. And then it only hits the point where he just wants to like just hang in the towel and everything. But it doesn't. And that whole first act is good. Then in the second act, once we now like established Pedro's character and everything, like the second act's like fine, but like it wasn't like, I wasn't loving it, because then it kind of turned into The Interview, which I wasn't thrilled about that when I saw it from the trailer. It was like, oh, we're now doing The Interview apparently, so I'm not quite into that. And then the third act it kind of just crumbles by the third act for me. I'm like, I didn't like this ending here, where we went by the end. It just slowly goes downhill for me and just doesn't quite work. And like, maybe Nicolas Cage shares the same sentiments, because I know he has talked about how this film does not really capture like what his actual like person is like, what he's really like in real life outside of the movies, and like he's probably never gonna actually watch it himself, which like understandable because it is him. Like, this movie was definitely trying to capture more like how people view Nicolas Cage in Hollywood, or like how people view him as an actor in his movies, just based on a lot of his maniac performances he has, or like over the topness, and like just how many goddamn films he makes. And like, which inherently, like, I see Nicolas Cage's point, but I also see the point they're trying to make with this movie. And at the end of the day, like, again, I think this is there is some good humor in this. There's some great performances, some great humor. There is good stuff in here. And I think there's a good movie in here. There's a good movie in here that's both a good comedy, but also a good character exploration for Nicolas Cage. I think there's something good in here that you could explore that. It could be really fascinating, really interesting. Just don't have this kind of interview plot in there. It just doesn't work for me. I think the main strong point of the film is Pedro and Nicolas Cage's relationship. They're the best parts of the movie. And the rest, and there's some good stuff around them that does support it, but most of it does not quite hold up. So, yeah, a good movie, a movie that has some good potential, but was kind of squandered. So, yeah, Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, 5 out of 10. Number 8 is The Northman. This was one a lot of people did enjoy when it came out. For me, I didn't really like it that much, honestly. Like, I really didn't like it that much. I mean, I saw the director of this film, Robert Eggers, I think his name is, his previous film, The Lighthouse, which I could not get into. I mean, like, it's not the worst thing I ever saw, but like, it was really not something I could fully follow. I don't understand exactly what that film was about still. It's still just hazy for me. Like, it just didn't quite work. And I saw this movie, and it's better, I think, than The Lighthouse. It's a bit more, like, coherent and easier to follow, but I don't think it's a better movie for me. I think I'm just not into Robert Eggers' work. Personally, I think his style was like, well, I appreciate he's actually, like, you know, making some original stuff, some very creative and out there ideas in, like, the Hollywood landscape, but they're not quite for me. They're just a little bit too much in areas for me that to really enjoy. And don't get me wrong, there's some good stuff in this movie. Like, we have some, like, solid performances in the film. I do think all the actors in this film are handing in some great performances. Like, Alexander Skarsgård does carry the film a lot. He's very good, very intense in the movie. Anya Taylor-Joy is good in the film. Nicole Kidman's good here. But then there are other actors who are kind of wasted here. Like, what is Willem Dafoe doing in this film? I mean, maybe because, like, he's friends with Eggers because he was in The Lighthouse. I think he was in his first movie also, but there's no reason for Dafoe to be in this movie at all. Like, why is he here? He's, like, in one scene probably, and then one, like, just, like, overheard audio in another part. Like, what's off-screen dialogue? Well, that's what I'm trying to look for. Like, that's it. And I wanted to see the movie purely for Dafoe, because for whatever reason, like, one of the trailers showed, like, kind of a clip of Dafoe going, "Witness the rise of Northman." Like, it seemed funny to me. I don't know why that got me interested, just that random thing of Dafoe going, like, saying that. I don't know why, and he's barely in this. I have no clue why. I feel like this is a film that he could really shine in, but, like, he's not here. Like, why is he in this? I don't know why. And it kind of just drags along. I mean, the film is, again, more simple to follow than The Lighthouse, being it's more a revenge film. And, like, it does do an interesting twist with the revenge in the movie, but, like, at the same time, like, there's some slow and boring sections to the movie. To me, it kind of just gets boring and a little bit tedious to watch as we go on. It's not the most thrilling movie to watch. Like, maybe that's the point, maybe it's a slow burn, but for me, it didn't quite work, honestly. Plus, it does get a little weird by the end, like the stuff with Nicole Kidman where she's his mom and starts kissing him. I don't remember what the hell is even the reason. I don't recall why that happened. I just remember it, and I'm like, that was the weirdest shit. Why? Yeah, just personally to me, if you're in these kind of movies, that's perfectly fine. I appreciate that this is something, like, different, not like your typical stuff you usually see in, like, you know, your action movies, I guess. But yeah, it's not the best thing I could have possibly seen. Yeah, I'm probably not gonna watch some of Eggers' movies. Now that I've seen 2 of them, I know what they're kind of like. It's not for me. It's not a style that I'm quite into, his stuff, so yeah, this is my personal opinion. So yeah, The Northman, I give a 5 out of 10 to. Number 7 is Thor, Love and Thunder. And please, let's all give a big round of applause to Taika Waititi, because you did it, Taika. You finally got me to not like a Marvel movie. Yes. I mean, if you know me, I'm not that harsh towards, like, movies a lot of time, or, like, particularly the Marvel films. I mean, I love the Marvel movies. I still very much like them a lot. You know, I'm not that harsh on Phase 4 like a lot of people were. You know, like, even the ones that people didn't like that much, like Black Widow or The Eternals, I actually still liked though. Thor and Thunder, I can't lie, I couldn't, I just can't. It wasn't good. I really couldn't. I had to stop lying to myself. I'm like, nah, this one wasn't good. Now look, there are things in this film that I did like though. Like, I liked the visuals of the film. I thought a lot of the sets and colors looked very good. You know, I loved a lot of the, you know, very comic accurate kind of costumes they embraced from the books, you know. The action scenes were pretty cool. There's a great, like, stuff that Valkyrie and Thor do, and some fight scenes. Like that one scene in the black and white, like, noir world kind of thing. I forget what it was called, like the negative something zone. No, that's a different thing in the comics. I forget what it was called, but that, like, black and white world, that fight sequence was really cool. And Gore himself also, great villain, definitely one of the best of Marvel. Christian Bale hands in a terrific performance of the character. Like, you really sympathize and understand Gore and why he's doing what he's doing to, like, kill all the gods. Maybe too much of a sympathetic degree with how Thor acts in the movie. So yeah, but he's still great in the movie. He's, like, one of the saving graces of the film. If only he was in it a little bit more. He's not in it as much as I would like him to be. He should have been in a lot more, which then, I guess, leads me to the film's problems, because, yeah, and, like, I liked Ragnarok. I like what they did with Thor in that film, and they gave him a bit more of, like, a humorous side, which made him, you know, a lot more enjoyable. But here, it's like, it's just taken too much, too far to the degree. Thor is really stupid here at this point. Like, it's almost insulting how dumb they're making him. It's like, I mean, come on, he's not, I know we made him a bit more, like, goofy and more fun, but he's not, like, this, like, dumb. It's so annoying. And that's also a big problem with just the humor in the movie. Like, there's too much. I know people lately have been talking about how, you know, humor is too much in the Marvel film. It's like taking over. But I will defend this that there's no other Marvel film that's this heavy on humor as Love and Thunder is. Like yes, there are films like the Guardians ones and Ant-Man that are a bit more, you know, heavy on humor, but still, there's a lot of serious stuff still happening in those movies. And even so, every Marvel film that has, like, you know, some goofy kind of humor or comedy, like, in it, there's still, like, a good amount of, like serious stuff happening in it for the most part, like 50-50. This one's like 80-20. Can you guess what the 81 is? And I'll tell you what, it's not serious stuff, because this film is just, there's so little of any kind of, like, serious, like, dramatic stuff in the movie, up until, like, maybe the third act and Gore's sequences he has in the movie, but still, it's not enough, and it does not help the movie. It also really doesn't help that most of the comedy is not good, and it does not work. Like I said, it doesn't work with Thor, it doesn't work with many of the other characters, especially Korg. Korg sucks. I hate Korg in this movie. Like, I liked Korg back when we saw him in Ragnarok, he was fun. Now he's annoying as hell. It's more worse when you know that, you know, Taika's playing Korg, and he's also the writer and the director of the movie, and he's also narrating part of this film, Korg, so it's like, it's so self-inserting, Korg, in this movie with Taika. It's like, it's too much. Like, dude, it's a Thor movie, stop self-inserting yourself so much. It was ridiculous, and Korg was annoying. I couldn't take him, man. We also do have Mighty Thor in the film with Jane Foster and Natalie Portman now finally back in the Marvel films, which, you know, I think this is the first time that Natalie Portman's finally been given some, you know, good stuff to do in these films. I like her a lot as Mighty Thor here. It's pretty cool, it's pretty fun. But again, it's another problem with the film. The film is too short. It's like just under 2 hours, and like it doesn't work with, like, you know, Thor's storyline trying to happen, and also Jane and Gore's, specifically with Jane and Gore. Like, both their storylines are kind of, those stories are happening in this film, and like they're kind of like not getting their equal screen time they deserve because of how short the film is. The film needed like an extra 10 or 15 minutes maybe to like explore more of their storylines, or 20 minutes, I don't know. Like, they need more time, because we didn't see Gore enough, like I said, and also we didn't see enough of what Jane was going through, because, you know, she has cancer as an element. They were talking about how it's a genetic thing from her mother, but like, I feel like we didn't like fully explore, go into that storyline and what it's doing to her. It just, like, the film focused too much on the humor, like way too much, and it ruins so much of the movie. Again, there's good stuff, like I said at the start. I still like some other things in the movie, like, you know, Valkyrie's still fun in the movie. Something else is also good in this movie, I swear to God, there is. I mean, oh yeah, also the Guardians are at the start of the film, which, like, I feel like, which I knew the Guardians were not going to be in the movie for that long, like, they were just there to drop off Thor and be done with it, but like, man, it really felt like Thor's time with the Guardians meant nothing. It's like, he barely really talks about being with the Guardians in the film. Like, I thought that would do something for his character, but no. And like, just, I can't believe how, like, ridiculous Thor in this movie is. Like, what, how did he go from what he was during Ragnarok and Infinity War Endgame to this? It's like, no. And I'm glad Chris Hemsworth agrees with me on this. He said that, you know, if he comes back to Thor again, like, if he comes back, of course, due to, of course, his, like, risk of Alzheimer's now, or like, if he were to come back now, like, he would want to do, like, a change direction going forward, because the last one was not good. Like, I'm glad he agrees on that, because if we get another Thor film, we should, because we need a proper good one if, like, he comes back. Because he also said he wants, if he comes back again, it should be his final Thor movie. So I think we need another Thor movie to, like, give a good send-off to this character, and because this is not it. So yeah, and with no Taika this time. Taika, just get out of here. Love and Thunder currently sits at a 5 out of 10 for me, but I have not seen it since it came out in theaters, and I feel like the next time I watch it, it will most definitely go down to a 4 out of 10, which will be the lowest rating I gave a Marvel film ever. Which, you know, I sound like a bit of a shill, yes, for not giving any Marvel film before then lower than a 5, but, you know, whatever, it's how I am, who cares? So, yeah. Thor Love and Thunder, 5 out of 10, with the possibility of going down to a 4 out of 10, but currently it's just a 5. So, yeah, 5 out of 10, and just no. Number 6 is Don't Worry, Darling. I'll say this about the movie, it's definitely a movie.
My favorite thing about the movie is, like, it feels like a movie. It feels like a real, like, you know, go to the theater film movie.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I wasn't really planning on seeing this film when it came out. I was not really that excited for it, but like, my dad wanted to see it, so like, I went with him. And like, just, the minute it started, I just was not feeling it whatsoever. I can't even explain what it was about it, but just, I was not vibing with it. I just wasn't. Like, it wasn't working. Just the whole movie, I sat there kind of just bored. I was like not like bored, but like just not into it. I'm like, I don't, like, this is not, I can't explain it. This was not into it, which is not a good thing. I just felt like just so not invested with the whole story majority of the time. Like, just, it wasn't working. Like, we have some great actors in this film. Like, we have Florence Pugh and Olivia Wilde and Chris Pine and Gemma Chan. Like, there's some good actors in this film who are doing good with the material they're given. It's just not the greatest material they could have been given. I mean, then there's also people like Harry Styles, I guess. Okay, I'll be honest, like, it wasn't bad. It wasn't entirely bad in the film, but like, definitely those like big emotional scenes, he could not do that well. I mean, I saw him in another movie also this year called The Policeman, which I thought he was actually better than that. He was good here. I just don't know what was going on with him in this movie. I don't know. Like, the story itself, there's some interesting stuff. I was definitely curious to see what the whole backstory and like reveal was behind what was happening. And look, I think the whole like reveal behind what was going on was interesting, but there's still like some execution here. It's not great. Like, the third act was actually, I did feel was suspenseful and had some good tension to it. But then, I don't know, the ending part reveals, like, I guess it's meant to be open-ended, where it's like, did she get out or did she not get out? Which, like, that'd be cool, but like, you didn't really make it feel like that. Like, I mean it does, but like, why do we want to make it believe that she doesn't get out? Because if she doesn't get out, then she gets killed in the real world regardless. So like, why would we want to believe she doesn't get out? Like, I think anyone's gonna believe she wants to get out. I mean, I don't, like, she's gonna die no matter what, like, if she doesn't leave. So, like, why leave it like that? I don't understand it. And we had other stuff. Can someone explain to me what the hell was going on when Chris Pine's, like, wife, Gemma Chan, kills him and says, "It's my turn now"? What? Like, what the hell was that about? There was nothing with that character at all. And now it's like, oh, you're done. I'm in. What? Okay, I'm probably going too loud here, but like, legitimately, what was that about? I don't understand it. Like, just, it's really not, like, honestly, it's not a movie I can fully remember. It's not that memorable. Like, there's some good potential with it. There was a good story here and some interesting stuff. It didn't work. It just kind of fell flat, honestly. So, yeah, some good ideas, some good actors, kind of wasted on not a very interesting script and some bad execution and stuff. So, yeah. Don't Worry Darling is a 4 out of 10. Number 5 is The Gray Man. So yeah, The Gray Man. The best I can say about this film is that it's very generic. That's the best I can really say about this film. There's nothing really that worthwhile about it. It's very generic and standard about an action film. Besides, like, maybe Chris Evans as the villain, which he's fun. The rest of it is pretty just by the numbers. And like, it's really unfortunate because it's a Russo brothers movie. And I don't know, like, since post their Marvel days, they've just not put out the best of movies. Like their one film, Cherry, with, like, Tom Holland, I did not think that was good either. Actually, I do think that this film, Gray Man, is better than Cherry, but still, they're not great movies. Like, I don't know what they're really doing these days. Now, like, Gray Man, like, again, good actors here, like Gosling and Evans, they're both great here. You know, we have Jessica Henwick and Billy Bob Thornton, and some other people. I don't remember. I honestly can't remember anyone else in the film. And there was some good action. Like, there was, like, a good action sequence, like, on the streets of, like, the bus and everything. Like, that whole action sequence was good. But yeah, honestly, I don't have a lot to really say about this film, like, at all. Because honestly, like I said, it's very generic. Like, I don't think you're, like, wasting your time. I mean, I get you could be. I don't know. But, like, I don't think it's a huge waste of time watching it. But, like, just there's nothing that special or memorable about it to, like, elevate it to, like, being, oh yeah, this was a, like, great or even, like, just decent action film. It's not, I wouldn't say it's decent. It's just, it's super average in not a great way. So yeah, this one's a quick one because I don't have a lot to talk about this one. So yeah, The Gray Man is a 4 out of 10. Number 4 is Pinocchio. Okay, seriously, why was there like 3 Pinocchio movies that came out this year? How was 2022? How did this somehow become the year of Pinocchio? I watched the first Pinocchio film for the first time before watching this in preparation. I thought the first one was good. I don't love it, but it was good. this is not that great. Okay, look, I'm usually always open to like these Disney remakes. I know they get a bad rap and most times they're not great, but I'm always interested in seeing what they are like. Maybe they do something different, and like it's always cool seeing maybe a new generation of kids like discover these stories, and then maybe then their parents show them like the original ones later on. And also, I'm always excited to see like the casting for like a lot of these films, because I think for the most part these remakes nail their casting of these characters. And like, I think Tom Hanks as Geppetto, great casting. I love Tom Hanks, he's my favorite actor, so I'm always gonna watch him in any movie. That's why I watched this movie in particular. Yeah, and I only watched the first Pinocchio recently, like right before I watched this one, and I thought the first one was good. I don't love it, but I do think it's a good movie, and this one's really not. Like, I don't. Again, it does a lot of the same stuff that you expect from a Disney remake, by that being the same stuff, like nothing new that much. There is some new stuff, like there's a whole new character they add within this carnival girl, like a marionette puppet that befriends Pinocchio, but like there's not much there of that character. I feel like she's not there for a good reason. The film also starts, it just really jumps into it also. Like when you watch it, it just starts immediately. Like, yeah, we know you don't want to be here to watch this. And this one just feels just dull and not really there with its energy. Like, I mean, maybe it has something to do with the fact that I watched both these films, like both Pinocchio movies, like in the span of a few days of each other, so maybe that didn't help. But I don't know. It was not that riveting of a movie, and the humor also is not great in this film. There's some humor that's like, all right, that's not bad. Some of it was not great. Like in particular, the one joke about when the fox is like telling him like, you should be an actor. What should we call you? And I immediately thought, are they gonna call him like Chris? Because like Chris is now a generic name in Hollywood because like 4 people named Chris. And I was correct, but then they kept going and went, oh, Chris Pine. And I was like, oh my god, you did not actually just do that. Chris Pine, get out. There's so much just wrong with this film that doesn't work. Like Jiminy Cricket feels like he's sidelined a lot of time. They do not give us a lot of time between like plot lines. Like, they throw us into like new plot points like without any like break time or breathing room in between the previous ones. Like, and like also just some like decisions that they make in the movie just don't work. Like Pinocchio is like a lot of decisions he makes now don't really feel that impactful now. Like they don't quite work. And even other stuff, like that whole donkey sequence in the movie. Like, I was a 21-year-old guy watching that original Pinocchio movie for the first time this year, and that donkey scene scared the hell out of me. I did not like it. That was creepy as shit. But this one is not. It feels so watered down and just not effective. Like, an anime film from the 40s was much more creepier than this one. And, yeah, which I guess is very indicative of Disney's remakes. Like, there's some good stuff in here. Like, the performances are all, for the most part, pretty fine. I think Tom Hanks does a good job as Geppetto. Everyone else does fine as their characters. There's other characters. There's also some stuff that they add some new backstory bit to Geppetto, which I think works. But other stuff, they also changed the ending of the movie to like the original ending they wanted for the original Pinocchio movie. Like, true fact, looked up on Disney Plus, and it's not have the same impact. It doesn't quite work for me. It really doesn't. I go back and forth between on the rating for this film, but currently it is sitting at a 3 out of 10. It's not a great movie. It really isn't. It's not really worth your time. Like, god damn it, Tom Hanks, why are you my favorite actor? Like, stop making me watch you in crap. You're better than this. So yeah, Pinocchio, 3 out of 10. Love of God, if like next year becomes the year Pinocchio again, or something, I don't know. Like, what would next year become? The year of the Fox and the Hound. Let's, no, just whatever. Pinocchio, 3 out of 10. Let's get on with it. Number 3 is Corrective Measures. I bet none of you ever heard of this film, have you? I don't blame you. Honestly, neither have I. I saw like, I follow a few of the actors in this film on Instagram, so I saw them like talk about this film and promote it. It's a film that's on some streaming service that I've never heard of. It's this one apparently, and like I saw it. Yeah, you know what? I'll watch it. It's kind of like it's one of the last films that Bruce Willis did, and you know he's in it, and Michael Rooker's in it, and Tom Cavanaugh plays the Reverse Flash on the Flash show, which I think he's great as. Yep, sign me up. And I honestly went into expecting what I was expecting to be a not great movie, a very cookie cutter filler streaming movie that you never heard of. And it's that, basically. A little bit worse than I expected, though. It's not good. this movie is just not well put together. It's a badly put together like narrative of the film. There's a lot of just stupid stuff. Like, okay, like there's some really random stuff they do, like essential parts of characters, like, you know, like old backstories and who they are thrown in randomly, like in the middle of the movie. Like at one point, like our main character, we established like later in the movie that, oh, I've got like a wife and a kid on the outside. What? Like, why are you now just throwing this in randomly in the middle of the movie? I don't know why. And there's also like, just, it's not a interesting narrative. Also, like, I probably already said that, but it's not a good narrative. It's not put together well. It's not really that interesting. It's like, we've seen this kind of a lot recently. Like, it's a much more kind of like deconstruction on like, oh, if superpowered people were real in the real world. You know, we've had that stuff recently with The Boys or Invincible, which do it a lot better than this. And there's some laughably bad, like, you know, like special effects and fight scenes. Like, I mean, the fights are average, but they do not look that great. And some of the characters are not that great. There's a rip-off Punisher. He's not that fascinating, honestly. And the characters themselves are not fleshed out that well enough. They're not, again, they're not the most interesting characters. I've really forgotten a lot about them for the most part, since, like, I keep forgetting I watched this movie, honestly. Like, just, and like sometimes there's like the performances are not that bad. Like, I mean, Bruce Willis is not that great in here. I mean, maybe it has something to do with like his like dementia disease he has now, but like, yeah, he wasn't great in this one, and just no one was really great. Everyone's kind of just like definitely just fulfilling a paycheck they got, and that was it. It's just, it's not a constructively well put together movie. It just doesn't work. And yeah, I doubt any of you are gonna watch it. It's not a really well known movie. It's just, yeah, and also stuff like new segments they throw into the middle of the movie that don't add anything to it. It's just, it's not a good movie. I'm just saying that right now. It's not good. Just not great. It's not entertaining. A bad story. Not really that memorable characters. Some pretty bland set designs. Just, it's a really nothing film. It's literally a cookie cutter streaming film that they make for their streaming service, and that's it. Like, yeah, it's nothing. It's a really nothing movie. I do not expect anyone really watches or try and find it. So, yeah, Corrective Measures is a 3 out of 10. Number 2 is Jurassic World Dominion. Yes, Jurassic Park. First off, the mere audacity of Universal to make this film almost 3 hours long. It's like 2 hours and 40 minutes, which I found out later. I apparently watched the extended cut, which I don't know what the hell they had in the extended cut then, but like, I think not much apparently from what I learned possibly. I have no idea. But still, 2 hours and 40 minutes? How dare you? Like, when I learned that, I was like, oh, God. Look, okay, I actually quite enjoyed the first Jurassic World. I thought it was a lot of fun. I've actually never seen the Jurassic Park films, or the original ones at all, never have. Like, yeah, I plan on watching the first one at some point, but just never got around to it. I liked the first Jurassic World a lot. Fallen Kingdom was not that great, and this one just, yeah, this trilogy just goes out on a wet note. Like, remember when the Jurassic World films were about dinosaurs? Yeah, so do I, because this film is about locusts. That's the main villain. Remember when the first Jurassic Park was about locusts? It's not about T-Rexes and Triceratops and that's insanity. Like calling a film Jurassic, the word Jurassic's in the title, and it's about dinosaurs. That's what you'd expect. It's not. This is about locusts. It's about these locusts. We're gonna wipe out the food chain and the end of the world, and we'll all die. What the hell is this plot? Like, they're grasping at straws with this. I don't know, like, why is this the plot of the movie? It's so uninteresting and lame. It's not fun to follow. Like, even when the old cast does come into this movie, which again, I've never seen the original movie, so I can't say whether or not I thought this was cool or not, or like if there's a nostalgia factor for people. I'm sure there is, but like, it doesn't really work here. It feels like just not great. Like, it's so just like not interesting. Like, when they finally meet the two, like the old and new cast, it's like just whatever. It's like, okay, great, they're here, awesome, friggin' touch each other, like whatever. Like, just like, who cares? And the plot, again, there's like different subplots in the film that just feel like so nothing and everything. I don't care. Like, there's a whole blue subplot that like they addressed at the start of the film, and then it's like we barely touch upon throughout the majority of the movie. It's like, why is this here? We don't need this subplot in this movie. And also, again, we don't really see a lot of dinosaurs like running about the world. Like, we just don't. Like, why? Like, I mean, they set it up in the last movie. Like, and we see some of that in this movie of them running around the earth and everything, but it's not enough. And when we do see it, it's cool, but it's not enough. It's not really that fun. It's like we want more, and again, we're just kind of confined to this one space, and it sucks. And the character arcs just don't feel that interesting. Like the actors are all doing, fine enough jobs still. Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard, Jeff Goldblum, Sam Neill, Laura Dern. I don't know the little girl's name, her actress, but they're all doing fine jobs still. But just their character arcs are just not that interesting. Their characters are not that fun by this point. They're just really not. It's just, it feels so just. By 55 minutes into this movie, I was like falling asleep. I was so bored. I was like, oh my god, when is this gonna pick up? And our main villain in the film, who's apparently a character from the first Jurassic Park movie, he's boring. He's so uninteresting. He's Peter Parker's dad from the Amazing Spider-Man movies, which I'm like, awesome. This is what he did when he left Peter. He's like, bye Parker, bye Peter. I'm gonna go bake dinosaurs now. He's so bad. He sucks. One of the dumbest thing about this film to me is how they handle like the musical score. Like they play the Jurassic Park theme so like just not perfectly timed or well synced. Like they played it at random parts. And it feels so random and awkward. It's like, epic, right? I'm like, no. If this is supposed to be like the final film in the Jurassic World like trilogy, and also like the final film in the whole Jurassic series overall, which it probably won't. This film made a lot of money, so we'll get another one, I guess. I don't know. But it didn't feel like a conclusion. I feel like we didn't really close any books on this story of these characters. It didn't. It just didn't feel like a closing chapter. It just felt like this kind of just wet, soggy note in the middle of it. Yeah, these Jurassic films just really go downhill. Yeah. They really should stop making Jurassic movies. Dialogue's not the greatest, the story's not fascinating, it's really dumb and lame. The characters don't have a lot of great arcs. There's just some plots in here that just are not needed. The villain sucks. It's such a sweat note to go out on. Or a prehistoric fossil. No, I'm not even gonna try. It's such a just bad note to end this series on, which for the most part people were not too thrilled on to begin with, but like, I liked the first one. Second one was meh. This one sucks, basically. It's not good. It's really not. Man, I don't know if I'll watch another Jurassic movie. Maybe I will, but like, man, this was not a good sign to end on. Yeah, not a good movie. Not really that entertaining. There's some fun stuff in it, but for the most part, a lot of it just doesn't hold together that well. So, yeah, Jurassic World is a 3 out of 10. And the number 1 worst movie of the year is Morbius. Because what else would it be? There were so many like red flags immediately on this film saying why it's not gonna be good. First off, Jared Leto's starring in it because everyone loves that. Secondly, it's a C-list Spider-Man villain at best because that's what we want. No, it's not. So that's already not great. And then secondly, the film was delayed bunch of times due to the pandemic, so that didn't help it. Then finally, Sony tried releasing it, like, at first in January this year, the traditional dumping ground for the movies that people don't give a crap. For movies that people traditionally don't give a crap about, but they decided, no, interfere with, like, No Way Home will interfere with its box office. Let's let it stand on its own. Sure. And then finally they released it during April. On what date? April 1st. They released it on goddamn April Fool's Day. The movie knows it's a joke. Or not, because then the internet made Sony re-release the movie. And it bombed hard a second time. Like, just... what the hell? It almost feels like a joke in on itself to make this the worst of the year. But like, there's no other film I thought was worse than this one. I mean, okay, it's not... arguably in some regards, I would probably say Jurassic World is worse to watch. That one probably like was not fun or entertaining to watch, a real drag. But like this one I gave a lower rating to, and like it's not, it's so poorly made. Like it's just, like, I mean, I remember when the film was coming out, I saw a review or hear reviews saying that they were complaining about like the characters, the acting, the story, the visual effects, everything. So I'm like, this is not gonna be good. And indeed it's not. Like it's just not a fascinating story to follow. Like Michael Morbius, he's not an engaging character to follow. I mean, and Jared Leto's he's not really that great as the role. The film itself is not, it's just not good. Like, I don't know why they insisted on making a movie about Michael Morbius. I know who he is, but, like, the general audience does not. And yeah, sure, Marvel's had great success with turning, like, the less-known characters into, like, massive hits like Guardians and Ant-Man and Shang-Chi. But this one's not. This is a villain to Spider-Man who's a very lesser-known villain. Like, yeah, Venom worked, but, like, this won't, and it proved. Like, it's not that great. Like, it's so... Almost everything about the film is so uninteresting. Like, there's almost nothing here I was that invested with. Like, this is not the worst, like, movie I've ever seen. And I wouldn't even call it, like, one of the worst comic films I've ever seen. Like, there are worse ones like Batman and Robin, Daredevil, like, Batman v Superman. I don't care what you say, Snyder fans. That film is not good. Like, it's not the worst I've ever seen, but, like, it's not... There's not a lot in here to try and say it's passable. I guess it's really not. It's such a joke of a film that I just don't know what they were thinking. Like, the story is not good. The action's not really that particularly memorable. And, like, I just don't know. Like, the best part of the film is probably Matt Smith as the main villain, which, by the way, poor Matt Smith. Like, I love Matt Smith. I love him as Doctor Who, but, like, man, he's been getting some real crap, like, post-Doctor Who. Like, Terminator Genesis sucked. He was almost in Rise of Skywalker, but then he got cut out, like, last minute or something, which sucked, but even then, like, is that a bad thing? And also, this movie. God damn it. Like, even he said he didn't understand his character, and I agree. I don't understand the whole, like, motivation to become a villain towards Morbius, and that's all bad, but, man, poor Matt, man, I feel bad for you, buddy. I mean, at least you got House of Dragon. That actually turned out very good for you, so good job, man. Not this, though. Like, there's even shit with Matt, with his character in the movie. Like, was it Milo? Like, it looks like that one scene in when he's getting dressed, it looks like a men's clothing commercial with, like, the stupidest song, like, poop on the bed and have sex. Like, what?
Have sex, excess, put my hands against, put my best, put my 10, put my spend, have sex, excess.
What the hell? This is such a joke movie. Or even seeing, like, when Matt Smith, like, stand there in the fog in his costume with his, like, CGI vampire face going, like, I'm just like, what is going on? Like, he's unironically fun in the movie, but, like, there's so much, like, even the way the story is paced is, like, how the movie starts, I knew immediately it was not going to be good. The way it just way too quickly cut together the friendship and relationship between Michael and Milo when they were friends. Like, it was like, they first meet and another, like, a few seconds, like, oh, now they're being shipped off together and sent to different schools. Like, oh yeah, you feel their backstory and chemistry? No, like, you cut it so poorly that I don't feel like I understood or got to know them as kids that well. Like, they got to know each other well as kids. Like, I don't know what they were doing. Like, just, I don't know. It's like, in comparison to the Batman, I knew in the first 5 to 10 minutes of that film, I was gonna love it. I knew in the first 5 to 10 minutes of this film, it's gonna suck. And also, oh my god, the after credit scene is one of the worst for a super movie ever. Like, what? And not only just, like, mess up, like, screws up this movie, it also screws up Homecoming and No Way Home. Because, like, Vulture's here now, and he's the same Vulture from Homecoming, but now he's a bad guy again. Okay, and he kind of hates Spider-Man. Why? He has no reason to hate him still. Like, why? He was on good terms with him in the end of Homecoming. Nope, not anymore. He has his costume now again? How? And also, how did, like, what? How did how, Nick, So you took him from the MCU during No Way Home. How the hell? How the hell did you do that? Like, how, like, what at any point in that film did they say that, okay, so when we send those guys back to their universes at the end of that movie, some people from our universe got sent to some other universes by accident. When was that established? You wanna know when? Never, because Sony doesn't give a crap. Like, it was never established. And then Michael Morbius, like, was an anti-hero by the end of this movie, but then in the credits scene, he's now a villain, where he's like, ooh, we're gonna fight this Spider-Man guy I've never heard of? I'm in. Why? Like, it's honestly an achievement. This should be an Oscar on its own, of, like, imagine how many after credits scenes not only just messing up the whole, like, story of the movie itself it was in, but also 200 films in the process. That's an achievement of itself. That should be a lifetime achievement on its own. And there's other stuff, like Tyrese Gibson, I feel like half his stuff was cut out from the trailer. Why is he feels so like wasted in the film? Like why? I feel like there was a lot more of him that they cut. Like I don't know what they were doing in this movie. It's so, and Sony did not learn. We're still getting movies like Craven and Madame Web and El Morito and Hypno Hustler. We don't want any of these. Thank God they're at least making a Spider-Man Noir TV series now. Like, that's what we want. I swear to God. I don't think we're getting Morbius 2. There's no way. But, yeah, this is just... It's, again, not the worst thing I've ever seen, not by a long shot, but just... It's so just uncreatively dead. There's so much in here that just does not work. Thank God at least Matt Smith is a good actor, and he can at least pull up some bad writing with his fun performance, I guess. But, yeah, it's such a... bad constructed story, not great action, not fun characters. It's not a good movie overall. So yeah, Morbius I give a 2 out of 10 to. And that's it for my top 10 list of the worst movies of 2022. I definitely rambled on way too long in some of these sections, but whatever. I mean, probably not whatever, because it's going to take me longer to edit, so that's fun. Yeah, I've been recording for an hour. Yeah, please, once again, let me know what you thought on my list down below. Do you agree with it? Do you not agree with it? Are some of these on your worst list also? Or some of these not on your worst list also? How many people are going to comment Morbius is actually the greatest movie of the year? Someone probably will. I don't know. Yeah. And yeah, once again, go check out my Letterboxd if you want some more in-depth reviews on these movies. Because I tried going through just the cliff notes like best I could. And yeah. So, yeah. That's it for this video. Thank you all for watching. Stay tuned for the next video on the channel, whatever that may be. So, yeah, hopefully we'll do some more movie reviews this year. So, yeah, well, we'll see, of course. But yeah, thank you for watching, and yeah, let's go into the new year of 2023 with some great movies to watch. So, yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all later. Goodbye. Hey, if you like that video, guess what? YouTube picked out a video just for you on the left. Or, if you want to take my advice, watch the most recent video on the right. Thanks for watching.